That's the cue. He gave me the cue. I can start. Goedemiddag allemaal. Iedereen me goed te horen? That was Dutch. I'm wrong session. Well, translations was earlier today. Or when was it, Marijke? Your session about translations? Yesterday?
No, this morning.
This morning. Oh, so you're familiar with the Dutch joke, starting in Dutch and then translating back back to English again. I'm from the Netherlands. My English is more like German English, something like that, like Robert talks. And I'm going to pick up the low-hanging fruit. Eli wanted to do at the end of his presentation earlier today. He did a presentation of site speed optimization, and he taught us the why for it and documentation. And something we had to say after: performance, strategy, performance, strategy. Cool. Some of you did join his presentation. That's cool. Because of his presentation, I've added some extra slides on mine, and the first one is this. We used to have zombies in our presentation, I think. So I added some zombies on it. It's the game I love to play on my iPhone. It's very addictive. So go to the next slide, and the people who play the game are familiar with this figure. This guy is the neighbor, and he is giving me some hints and stuff. So that's all about the zombies in my presentation. The next slides are for speed, and speed does matter. For instance, Google measured that if a site is 500 milliseconds slower, the traffic to your site will reduce it for 20%. And Amazon figured out that if their site was 100 milliseconds slower, their sales dropped with 1%. I don't know if you're familiar with the numbers of their income, but it's a lot. So nowadays, websites are getting bigger. This is a slide I found on the internet, and it's hard to read on the front rows and even not readable on the back. But it says that during the time from 95 till last year, the sites are increasing in page speed and the number of objects to be loaded on its page. And we have to work on it to improve the speed of the website so it loads faster. If you're more interested in figures, please read this presentation from Gomez, and just Google for Gomez Web Speed Survey. And you'll find an excellent slide set of figures and numbers why site speed optimization is important. My presentation is all about how, and I'm picking up the low-hanging fruit, giving it to you to show you how I've done it for a Joomla website. And the only thing you have to do is measure, learn, and optimize, and doing it again and again and again, and it's an ongoing process. So I've picked up a Joomla 2.5 installation with sample data. I've tried a 3.0 installation as well, but the extensions I will show you are not compatible with the 3.0 websites. Not all of them are. Some of them are, not all of them. First thing you do is measure your website, the speed, and one of the sites you can measure the speed of your website is Pingdom. This is the URL. You can make pictures of all the slides I will show you. I won't post the entire SlideShare. I will do post the presentation on slideshare.net, and so you don't have to make pictures of every slide you see with the web links on it. On this website, you can measure the speed of your website, of the URL you're giving in, and the speed of the website I've showed was 2.15 seconds for load time, and this is just one of the tools one can use. Another tool you can use is well, not the tool. It's more like the entire story of optimization. Yahoo created this page a long time ago, and it covers it all. Read this page, and just find for speeding up your website on Google, and you'll find this page, and this page is good. It covers the whole story. Just follow everything on it, and you have a fast website. Well, you have a good start. It's easier to use a plugin on your browser, and YSlow is one of the plugins I use on my browser. YSlow takes all the points of the previously shown website, and when you've installed the plugin, it's on the top right. And for the Joomla installation I've done, when you press the YSlow button, you get this. Everyone who went to the presentation of Eli have already seen this one. And with this list, and it's the same list as it was on the previously shown slide. With this list, it just says avoid empty source or href, and it gives me an A, so I'm good for this one. Add expire headers, give me an F, and I will show you how to increase the number of that. Another thing is page speed. Page speed is from Google, and page speed doesn't really have a plugin for it, but it also has a list, and it can be found on this page. And when you visit this website from Google, you can type in your web link you want to find out what it scores, and it gives the results on the page itself.
Similar in this way, in that
with all suggestions to take care of.
Can these also as a plugin in Firebug?
In Firebug, correct. But do they give suggestions? Okay.
For both Firebug
And yeah. Those two combined in GTmetrix. And with GTmetrix, GTmetrix, it combines YSlow and Google PageSpeed into just one. And I've did that for msnippets. Msnippets is just the same as JSnippets. JSnippets is a website you should visit. It's a website from René Krijveld, also Dutchman, and it contains code snippets you can use on your website. If you have some code snippets you want to share with people, create an account over there and add your code snippet to share it with the rest. It's cool. With the default Joomla installation running through GTmetrix, I get an F on page speed and a C on YSlow. When I use the both tools separately, the score is almost the same, since they measure it slightly different. Page speed on this tab, YSlow on that tab, and the timeline over here. And over here you can see, wait, I have a bigger picture on that. You can see the timeline for loading the page msnippets, the front page. And you can see it takes a lot of time for the first get. A lot of time to generate the HTML for that page. Well, what's next?
tools that you would install.
Very simple stuff to do. Anyone can do it, and I will show you these 3 steps. Afterwards, there are several other steps I will show you, but I start with these 3 steps. Reduce the HTTP requests, use GZIP compression, and use caching. And I start with the HTTP requests. The browser asks the server for the website. It comes back with an the HTML file, and in that HTML file there are several things you can ask to the server: images, CSS file, JavaScript files. So every file that has to be sent to your computer is an HTTP request, and that will take a lot of time. If you have a huge amount of HTTP requests, it's time when you can also at your computer. So you have to reduce that. this was the first load, and over here you can see a lot of CSS files and a lot of JS files. When you look at the website itself, the Joomla website, and you show and you look at the source of that website, you see the CSS files over here, and you see the JavaScript files over here. It will be better if you can reduce that amount to just 1 or 2 files. And that's possible. There are several tools for it. One of the tools I use a lot is script merge. And script merge is from Girio. And script merge just combines and compresses. And after installation of this plugin over here, just before caching the page, caching should always be last. It has no use caching a page when you have caching over here, and after that it has to execute some other plugins. Always put caching on the last line. And when you activate the plugin, it will reduce the CSS files into, in this case, 2 files. He leaves print CSS out of it. Sometimes print CSS messes with the rest of the CSS files. And for the JavaScript files, it also reduces it to just 1. So not 6, just 1. When you're using, yep.
Sorry, does the order all
Well, they are compressed, they're combined in the same order as they were shown in the normal source. So without compressing, you had this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 JS, and in this compressed file, when you open it, you see the same order as it was in the without compressing.
Is this going to work with all frameworks, or the frameworks which have their own technology interfere with this?
It should work, but not every JavaScript file. Sometimes some JavaScript file isn't coded very well, and the compressed and the combined JavaScript file will fail. Oh.
I'm saying that like UTheme and GameTheme have their own mechanisms for this that you're describing. So I'm asking if this is superfluous, or if this is something we should do beyond what they are.
Well, if you're using UTheme as an example, and when you ask UTheme in the backend to combine and to compress and to minimize the JavaScript file, it's actually no need to do it again. So you do it one or the other, do not both.
Is there one that's better system-wise?
Well, I'm more used to this one. There are better ones, for sure, but yeah, and I'm used to use this one. And the developer of script merge is really close. So when I have a problem with it, I just hit him on Skype chat.
Are you aware of any that will split scripts that need to be in the head and scripts that can be pushed down the footer?
No, but sure, certainly are. GT metrics again. This was 28, if I'm correct. Now it's 17 for the default Joomla website, the front end of the default Joomla website. So we have reduced the amount of HTTP requests with 11 to 17. Yep.
That last slide.
I'm
Yeah, so what is the page speed rate compared to the Y slow rate? What is
page speed measures some other stuff than YSlow does. And page speed measures if you enable GZIP compression or not, and then you get a grade for it. YSlow measures some other stuff, and those all combined will give you the grade. So in the end, you will like to have an F or an A for both of them.
I got a B, I went through my site, I got a B for both, is that okay?
Yeah, if it's fast.
Yeah, I got 0.60.
0.60 is fast. Excuse me, there's a question over here. Yeah, because when we measure, when page speed and Y slow measure all those the points they want to measure, they don't have a KPI for the amount of page requests. We're getting to we're onto that one. You also can see this in the timeline. In the timeline, we had several CSS files, several JavaScript files. Now they're gone. And like you said before, 737 is still too slow, too low. So next thing. Where to go? Go back. Blocking. The slide before?
The one with the timeline.
I haven't looked into that.
File JavaScript. Okay. Yeah, it's blocking the images.
Next. GZIP compression. When the browser asks the server to send him files, the server will send him files back. It's better to compress, to compress all the air out of it. Just like those TV commercials when you can buy this vacuum pump to pull out the air of a cushion, or the winter sleeping stuff to put it in the closet. Without doing that, you have this pile of pillows to put in your closet. When you push out all the air, it's just like that. So you can hide. Yeah, you can have a smaller closet. Let the server gzip the files to send to you, to your browser, then to your browser, and your browser will unzip them. That's the general idea. So eventually you will get smaller files. On this page, you can see if GZIP compression is or is not activated on your website. And on this website, it's not activated yet. In Joomla, in the global configuration, on the server tab, you can activate your GZIP compression, but that won't work. That don't covers the whole thing you have to do. You have to do one thing more, and that's adding some code to the htaccess file. Too bad Joomla doesn't has this in its default installation, in the default htaccess file, but they should. It just says deflate these kind of files and do not deflate files that already are compressed, or Internet Explorer will fail on that. It's no use to compress an MP3 file or a JPEG file. They are already compressed enough. Text files, on the other hand, can be compressed a lot.
One thing, for those who may not have a great hosting company, turning on GZIP can be a problem, and because GZIP, while it's great for all performance aspects, from a hosting standpoint, really puts a lot of extra load on your server, so you can actually have adverse effects.
Yeah, isn't it better than to switch to another hosting company? Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Look at this.
People who just start with Joomla, not familiar with this kind of matter, and will go for the cheapest one. And in the end, they find out it's not the cheapest after all. Yeah. And you pay for nothing, so you get nothing. After that, do it again. I run msnippets.net through this website again, and GZIP is activated. So the content of my website is sending through GZIP to the browser. Running this through GTmetrix again, I can see an increase from 37 to 77% Well, that's cool. Yeah, with just one.
Do you recommend doing the server side as opposed to like a plugin that does the GZIP for you?
I prefer doing it myself instead of a plugin, since I have to maintain the plugin. When there's an update, I have to reinstall the plugin or upgrade the plugin. When I do it myself, I know what I've put into it. Next thing is caching. General idea is my page cached? Then serve the cached page. Is this page not cached? Then serve the then serve a generated page. Joomla cache is good. I tend to use Jot cache, and it's even better. And it can exclude pages from being cached.
Same question as before. Have you looked at like Rock Booster, which is one from Pantry, all the other frameworks almost all have caching solutions.
But not always using Rocket theme templates or U-theme templates on my website.
I'm just asking more like if somebody has a Pantry template, they should
No, I didn't look after it. No, I didn't.
I use Jotcast before, it's great, but the problem is you cannot include it in template frameworks.
Like JT3.
You need to exclude often, let's say you have a theme module, it will not load up, it will cache everything.
Mhm.
Your feed will not update.
He looked into it, and he's working on some solutions for that. He even provided some code to exclude some module positions to load, but that one failed with me too.
That's because if you use a framework, you cannot, well, at 1.5 I was using, you cannot enter the JDoc include
Yeah.
tags around the world.
Does caching work for public people logged in and registered users? Or does it stop working for people who logged in?
It will cache. Yeah. Next one is the Jot cache, where you can download Jot cache, and same as with the normal Joomla caching, Jot cache should be ordered last. It's not useful to cache a page with and then afterwards and some other stuff has to be done, like the Ceph plugin. Then your site will fail. These are my settings, and I even let Jot cache cache Internet Explorer pages of browsers separately. They get a big red sign. Don't use it. Apart from it, you should add some extra code to HTXs.
Changes to that less file, Grunt is automatically going to not only read.
I have a combination of mod deflate and mod expires. For instance, the CSS files, where are those? Over here. I say set them up for 2 hours caching, and when the cache time is over, you must revalidate it again. Otherwise, it will serve the old file again. There's several ways to do this, and I copy paste this one until I stumble upon a better one, and well, that's a good way to work with.
Just out of curiosity, have you ever looked at the HTML boilerplate?
Not yet. I've looked into it. It was pretty large, and I thought, well, no time for it now. Continue. Well, back to GT metrics. They both have a grade B, and I think that's good for the moment. But on Wislow, there are 3 components without a far future expire date. I added some expire headers in the HTXs file. I got just a D because 3 files do not have a far future expiration date. And that's because in my HTXs file, these files just have a 2-hour, oh, I went too fast. They just have a 2-hour expiration date. And Wislow thinks, well, a far future expiration date is not 2 hours. 2 hours is too short. So you have to increase that number if you would like to have a better grade on Wislow, but should you?
I have a question. Is there a technical reason for that?
Technical reason? Well, the longer you have the pages in cache, the less files a returning visitor has to get from your server. So that's about it.
It seems to me it's like some of those files like JavaScript and CSS, to me those files, a longer time frame for those, whereas XML is going to be updated a lot more often, and 2 hours seems very valid for XML.
Mm-hmm.
I would suggest that moving XML out of the CSS and JavaScript thing, having that be into 2 hours,
And you're free for that
CSS
to
and
do.
JavaScript.
Yeah. So that depends on the situation you're in. If you need XML with a lower caching time, then take it out and put it in a lower caching time. Lower score perhaps, but a working website. And then you have to have to balance what's more important, the working website or a lower score.
Yeah.
It's not always about the numbers. Continue, less is more. So we have the GZIP compression and reduced HTTP requests and caching, but there's more. Combining CSS images into sprites, or using CSS3 instead of images. You can optimize images, remove unwanted CSS files, remove unwanted JavaScript files, and just show less. Years ago, everyone wanted to show a clock on his website, or a spinning email button. Nowadays, everyone tends to show every Facebook image on a website. Not everyone needs those. CSS using sprites on the ACL manager. On the top right, you can switch the language to Deutsch, Espanol, Italiano, and Nederlands. And that image, those 5 images over there are combined in this call, just one call, sprite.png. And sprite.png is, come on, okay, too fast. All those actions in this slideshow. I shouldn't have, less is more, so why did I put action? Sorry. But the sprite image contains 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and on the top an arrow 7 HTTP requests into just one HTTP request. Using CSS, you can show just this flag in the drop-down. Yeah, Eli?
The only thing that I would say when you work with sprites, make sure that they're actually very condensed. Don't have white space in between, because pixel size,
Pixel size, yeah.
100 by 100 versus 10 by 10 makes a huge difference.
Yep.
And the reason for the white space?
Well, let's go back to the drop-down. I don't see any reason. Perhaps the list item is exactly as the same height as the text itself.
If you increase the size, only the page size, the size of the font size, then you need a little bit more.
Then you a little bit more white space on top, so you have to
Rocket
test.
is available as a node.
When you look at some of the big sites like Facebook, I mean, they have a very huge
Yep.
CSS sprite.
Yeah, which covers the entire browser. I've seen that in a couple of sites years ago, a huge CSS of huge sprite image, and now reduced to a smaller one since they
Includes
images for buttons to CSS for buttons. A question in the back.
doesn't have any sockets, you can use Flash. And if it can't use Flash, it uses like long polling. So
It's not covered in this presentation, but it's a good suggestion. A lot of components tend to load their own version of jQuery, 1.3, 1.4, instead of 1.8 already, if I'm correct.
creating a
And then you're loading 3, 4, 5 instances of jQuery. One is enough.
and
This one, a button. A button used to be in the old days as an image, and now please use CSS instead. And a big chunk of code, CSS code over there, but it can be done pretty easy using this website. And on this website, you can load your old image into this website, and it provides you the CSS code to be copied into your own CSS file. Pretty useful. If you can't remember this one, the next one is easier to remember, CSS3 generator. And in the drop down on the bottom, gradients will bring you to the site on the slide before. So CSS3 generator, it's very useful. Last one, almost last one. I knew I would go to San Jose, so I had to pick this image. And when you want to post this image on your website, it's pretty big. The original size of this image is 2.4 megabyte. And with almost the same look and feel, almost the same quality, you can save it as a PNG 24, a GIF, PNG 8 or JPEG. And you see the reduction of the size from or use another image. So choose wisely.
Another comment related to images which I made in Eli's presentation. There's a tool if you're a Mac user called Image Opportunity, which will take your image and it does some magic with reorganizing the data in terms of like expression level of JPEG, and it will reduce your file sizes, JPEG, GIF, and PNG anywhere between 10 to 60%. So when you send that across a very image-intensive website, you can save megabytes.
Yeah. In the YSlow extension, there used to be a tab called Tools, and with the Tools tab, you were referred to the website Smushit, and with Smushit, but it's gone nowadays.
There are some online ones, but they're not as good as this one.
Okay, and what is called again?
Image, IMAG, Optim, OPCIM, I think it's by a Croatian.
So you search Google for Image Opti.
It's one word.
Image Opti. Now it's on tape. Now it's on Image Opti. OPTI. M. Optim. Just like Image Optimize, but without the eyes.
Yeah, he has a lot of libraries and calls from tests your images against all of them and just gives you a small size.
The really neat mood tools. I have not removed it, and I'm using Mood Tools Enabler Disabler as a plugin for it. It's pretty cool. You just install this plugin. It's on GitHub. It's on the Jet. It's basically everywhere, but I love to show GitHub. And on GitHub, you can download it and install it on your website. And once installed, you have a drop. Oh, back. Well, I was too far. It's called Tools Enabler Disabler, and once installed, and you open this plugin in your plugin manager, and the parameters, you have the option to enable or disable Mood Tools only for specified items, and with items they mean menu items. I don't know. But it's more easier to do it in using the menu manager. There's a new parameter on the side where you can say yes or no. Enable Mood Tools, yes or no. And sometimes I only need just one page that needs Mood Tools for some extensions do need Mood Tools, and on the other pages I do not need Mood Tools. Well, I've put a little code on JSnippets to do that, but when I stumbled on this extension, this plugin, well, I switched it.
That's because a lot of components keep their item IDs.
Measure, learn, and improve, and iterate again. So again and again and again and again. 10 minutes left, I'm almost done. Because is a fast website important? Yes, it is, because of the numbers I've shown you in the third slide. And are there more things to improve on your website? Yes, there are. Loads of books and websites are written about it, even presentations. Today we had 2. Eli and I did. So go out, find them, and enjoy improving the speed of your website, but not until one more thing I've seen earlier today with the presentation of Eli. I adjusted my presentation to put this slide in it, and there was Jay Bertolo. Come on. This one. I haven't looked into it. I only created a screenshot of this page, and I will look into it, Eli, I promise. And it's pretty hard to implement, he told me, but when it's working, it's all said and done, then you gain a lot of profit of it.
And it's not mine. So
And it's not Eli's.
just making sure that. Sorry, what does it do?
All the stuff I told you before in this presentation.
Wait.
I haven't looked into it yet. I will do in the flight home. So, thank you for your time. Have fun optimizing your website. So 9 minutes for questions.